Christian Horner wasn't merely Red Bull's team principal, he was Red Bull Racing. 20 years, 124 race victories, 8 drivers' championships, 6 constructors' titles, one-man institution. And then, poof. No goodbye, no press conference, just effective immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't give somebody £50 million to leave quietly unless you've got a story so explosive it'll blow the paddock to smithereens. And today we're investigating exactly what that story is. Smash that like button like Red Bull smashed the 2023 grid, because we're about to go deeper than Sky Sports ever will. Let's go. Red Bull's power shift threw Horner under the bus. Here's what you didn't know on TV. This wasn't simply a dismissal, it was a strategic corporate coup. For years, Chalerm Uvidya, the reclusive Thai billionaire, whose family controlled 51% of Red Bull, stood between Horner and the firing line. Even when the Verstappens and Helmut Marko were gunning for Horner's head, Chalerm said no. But on May 20th, everything was different. Chalerm sold his personal 2% shareholding into a Swiss trust. Suddenly, the Thai majority collapsed. The Austrians asserted control. And guess who they'd been desperate to chop? Christian, Edward, Horner. This was Red Bull's corporate Game of Thrones. One guy lost the crown and they wouldn't even give him the respect of completing the season. Bernie Ecclestone himself, Horner's mate, didn't mince his words. He was a 50-year-old who believed he was 20, a total idiot. Even Bernie believes Christian let the power go to his head. From WhatsAppgate to team control fixations, the rumors turned into bellowing. And the Verstappens? They were observing, waiting, shoving. Jos Verstappen notoriously cautioned, if Horner remains, the team will fall apart. With Max's fate now in the balance, on account of a contract exit clause linked to championship standing, Red Bull was forced into action. It wasn't personal. This was about survival. What's next? Alpine, Ferrari, or a shock comeback? So, what now for Christian Horner? Let's be honest. He's not done. This man didn't bleed for 2 decades to just disappear. He's playing chess. Red Bull made their move. Now it's his turn. Alpine is the most obvious play. No leadership, no direction, no vision. And Flavio Briatore, Horner's old ally, is pulling strings behind the curtain. Christian can take a stroll into Enstone tomorrow, remake that team, and, with Mercedes engines coming in 2026, transform Alpine into Red Bull's nightmare. And here's the kicker. Alpine is UK-based. No move, no language issue, no excuses. Ferrari? Still an option. Fred Vasseur is under stress. John Elkann has previously flirted with Horner. But here's the actual twist. Red Bull may have let him go, but they also equipped him. They provided him with a £50 million war chest. They sat out a man who knows all the Red Bull secrets, engine designs, technical specifications, sponsor tactics, and once that gardening leave expires, he's free to rebuild, free to fight back. Christian Horner, the second most successful team boss in Formula One history, the man who turned a midfield scrapyard into a world-beating dynasty. And now, for the first time in 20 years, he's unemployed, but not unwanted. Ferrari's knocking, Alpine's waiting. But here's the twist. Horner might walk away from the biggest job in motorsport. Why? Because it's not about titles, it's about power. And Ferrari, despite all its history, may never provide him with that.
So hold on tight, because this isn't merely about where Christian Horner is going. This is about where Formula One is going next. Press that like button like it's the final lap in Suzuka. This story's about control, loyalty, legacy, and the one thing Ferrari can't provide.
Topic 1. The Ferrari fantasy. Why the prancing horse still can't tame Big Lion's Ferrari? The Holy Grail. The poisoned chalice. Every team principal secretly dreams of running Maranello, but not Christian Horner, at least, not yet. He's already turned down Ferrari multiple times. Why? Because Ferrari offers prestige, but never ownership. And Martin Brundle, of all people, stated it, loud and clear. Christian will be desperate to have a stake in a team going forward. You don't get that at Ferrari. Let's get bluntly honest. Ferrari is a political minefield, always has been. You don't lead Ferrari, you survive it. You report to John Elkann. You manage the Italian press. You balance legacy, politics, and pressure with no actual authority. And Christian? He's not a gun for hire. He's a builder, a controller, a boss. Red Bull gave him total spectrum authority, tech, strategy, commercial, PR. That's why he hung in there, because it was his team. And Ferrari? That's not an option. Fred Vasseur is clinging for dear life. Ferrari is falling behind in 2025. The pressure is killing. But the actual problem, Ferrari desires obedience, not autonomy. And Horner doesn't play second fiddle. He plays maestro. Topic 2. The Alpine Ascent. The comeback story. F1 never saw coming. So if not Ferrari, where? Now Alpine's in the same state. Midfield mediocrity. Leadership vacuum. No vision. He's done it before. He could do it again. And if Mercedes engines arrive in 2026, Alpine becomes dangerous. And Horner gets the one thing Ferrari can't give him: control. We're not talking about employment. We're talking about empire. If Alpine makes Horner a share, an ownership stake, it's on. Forget Ferrari history. This would be Horner's future. Written by him. Engineered by him. It's not a rumor. It's not speculation. Ferrari team boss Fred Vasseur has openly acknowledged it. They've quit on the 2025 title. Let that sink in. We're midway through the season. The greatest team in Formula One history has capitulated. But the twist here is that this isn't solely about McLaren dominance. It's about internal disarray, driver discontent, engineering dead ends, and a leadership void that no one within Maranello seems to want to rectify. Fred claims to be lucid. I claim he's being beaten. If you're a Ferrari fan, if you're a drama fan, and if you want the truth nobody in the paddock will say aloud, follow me. After Ferrari fans dislike this video, out of embarrassment, you're about to learn what Sky Sports won't dare say. Topic 1. The public surrender. Vasseur's statement is a smokescreen for a bigger collapse. Fred Vasseur, after the British groupie, didn't only write off Ferrari's hopes. He spoke the quiet word, loudly. Even if you win all the races until the end, I'm not even sure that you will be champion. Excuse me? That's not analysis. That's surrender. McLaren is dominant. Sure, 9 victories in 12. But when your team boss begins sounding like this in public, the rot isn't in the points table. It's in the mindset. Let's not forget, this is Ferrari. This is the squad that constructed its reputation on fighting until the final lap of the final race. Now they're already focused on 2026. This isn't strategy. This is a retreat. Because behind the scenes, Ferrari isn't merely losing races. They're losing control. Hamilton's words were ice cold. He called the SF25 the most difficult car I've ever driven here. He said it's packed with flaws that must not carry into 2026. And here's the kicker. He's already talking like he's the one designing next year's car, not driving it, designing it. That's not a sign of confidence in the leadership. That's a driver seizing control because no one else is. Even Leclerc. Let's break down the "we're working on 2026" angle. On paper, smart move. New regulations, new power units, new aero, new everything. But here's the harsh reality. The only reason to make the switch so early is because you've got zero chance now, and you know your current vehicle is a dead end, which, it seems, it is. Let's discuss the quiet behind the scenes. Fred's contract is up soon. The Italian media are flying around in circles like vultures. And guess whose name continues to come up? Christian Horner. Yes, the newly redundant man. A man who made a midfield team a dynasty. If Ferrari are to be on top again before the 2030s, they require someone who doesn't simply manage, they need someone who commands. Fred isn't that man, never was, and Ferrari know it. Why do you think they continue to let drivers voice their opinions? Why would the press leaks be getting stronger? Why do you think Charles Leclerc is so quiet about his own long-term future? Because it's not just about car performance, it's about direction. And presently, Ferrari has none. They have a driver lineup worthy of a title fight, a budget worthy of a super team, a fan base that bleeds red. They have no vision, no leadership, no fight. So sure, go ahead and begin designing the 2026 car now. But first, until you repair what's broken on the pit wall and the technical floor above it, you're tossing millions at blueprints that'll end up running after P3 again.